Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 1, Episode 2 of Once Upon a Time, titled The Thing You Love Most. Now, of course, the episode is broken up into two parts. Enchanted Forest, past time part, and the present. The Enchanted Forest bits are basically run concurrently with the Enchanted Forest bits last episode. But the last episode, we followed Charming and Snow. This episode, we follow the Evil Queen. So we see her come back to her palace after threatening Snow and Charming at their wedding. We meet a man we later learn is her father. And he's basically a servant. I'm pretty sure the castle she's in is his castle. I'm pretty sure he was a king in his own right. And now he's a servant. Yeah. Although, to be fair, we're going to later learn, I'm pretty sure he was always a servant once he married Regina's mother. We don't learn it in this episode, but I do got some foreknowledge on that. Anyways, she decides that she needs to enact the Dark Curse. But to get this curse, she traded the curse to Maleficent for the Sleeping Curse. And I love this. In the last episode, we had the Council of Fairy Tale Creatures with Geppetto, the Blue... Granny and Little Red Riding Hood, the dwarfs. This episode, we had Maleficent and the Evil Queen being in the same circle. Maleficent kind of succeeded where Regina failed, and she's now living her retirement life. Like, she's got a pet unicorn or some shit. Basically, she's kind of telling Regina that she should get a pet, pointing out her pet and whatnot. Talking about the past and moving on, but Regina doesn't want to hear any of that shit. She's got her plan. Nothing can change her. She ends up trying to kill the pet, which kind of forces Maleficent to block it, protect it, which gets her caught and trapped, and Regina re-steals the Dark Curse. I do love that Maleficent seems to have, basically been like, she's basically Thanosing. At the end of Infinity War, he just is sitting at on a farm and looking at the sunset. This is, from what I'm told, she succeeded. Or she's decently succeeded right now. This is her retirement. This is her staring at the sunset before the Avengers come and, kill him in Endgame. This is him just sitting, her just sitting at the sunset. I got a pet now. Like, it's also cool that she was warning, Regina with, like, this thing, I'm not even want to touching this Dark Curse. That's just, there's evil and then there's that. And it just says something about the Dark Curse that even Maleficent, who's probably one of the darkest villains, is just like, I'm like a bad guy, but I'm not that bad a guy. I'm not that villain, no. So she reads the ingredients and summons her own council of elder mythical villains, and none of these people were characters. Like, I'm pretty sure that maybe there was a hag, there was an imp, a giant maybe, or an ogre, some shit. But none of these were, like, Disney villains. These were just knockoff villains of creatures. And I'm just thinking, like, Snow White had the dwarfs, Little Red Riding Hood, Geppetto, and she had this imp. So she had to sacrifice a heart of something she cares about. So she sacrificed the heart of her prize horse. Damn, Horsey was nothing but loyal to you, and this is how you repay it? Damn. So the imp mocks him and he's turned into stone. And then, goddamn, Regina. Regina is the pettiest bitch, because now when the curse life, because in the curse life, this man is a garden gnome, which, now that I'm saying it out loud, he might be a gnome. I've been calling him imp, but now that I'm saying it out loud, garden gnome, I'm pretty sure it's meant to be a gnome. I feel stupid. I feel stupid on that. Yeah, there's that. Anyway. She goes to Rumpelstiltskin, and side note, whoever created Rumpelstiltskin, this version of Rumpelstiltskin, and the makeup artist, whoever decided that is how Rumpelstiltskin should look, deserve their flowers. And also, the actor Robert Carlyle, I think his name is, or something like that. I could be wrong. Deserves his flowers, because that seems like it took a decent amount of time to put on, and you gotta sit there. I always respect actors who have to wear all this makeup and this costuming that takes hours on hours, and I'm just sitting here thinking, like, damn. Oof. And he's just baffled that she, sacrificed a horse's heart, like, because he created this curse, and this is basically, like, going to an artist with their painting and then pointing out how you repainted over it a bit, and they're just like, what? And he gives her the information she needs after he promises that he's gonna live a cushy life, which I'm just like, whenever he asks her please, he has to do whatever she has to do whatever he says. And this is a trick, in a sense. He already knows that he's gonna have his memories return once he meets Emma. So this is basically a catcher. This is basically kind of like he's bluffing her into it, like, well, I'm not gonna remember it anyway, so what's the harm in agreeing, While the other one was just simple. He's been living in this cell for who knows how long. He's from poverty, we later learn. He is from poverty, so he just wants to be rich. And I wonder how much that is poor man Rumpelstiltskin, who grew up for a good long while with nothing, or the Rumpelstiltskin who spent at least maybe a year in prison. Could be both. And Regina finds out that the thing she needs is the heart of the thing she loves most. And she realizes that's her father. And her father realized this quickly. And I paused that scene because I was like, he says, oh, me. And I just burst out laughing. If she said, no, me, Maleficent, we're girls. We go way back. I love that girl. She's so crazy. That time she put Aurora to sleep because she wasn't invited to a birthday party or some shit. Yeah, that's crazy. Because, I don't... And I just love... I don't know. Why is Henry her truest love? Is it because everybody's dead and she's pushed everybody away? Because she even basically kind of hits him with a, now you want to protect me type thing. Which I think is a reference to her marriage to Leopold, who is... Now, I don't think any ages are confirmed, but, like, there is a very sizable age gap between Regina and Leopold. And Regina wanted to marry, we later learn, wanted to marry, and it's alluded to in this episode, that she had a love, and she was going to get married before Snow ruined it in some way. Gonna learn about that more, I'm assuming, in the coming episodes. So, I'm pretty sure Henry had something to do with this marriage. Henry had to Leopold, Snow's father, and maybe like the death of her first love. Or if he didn't, he could have. Like, I feel like an action is definitely something Regina notes. Like, he didn't do anything malicious, and that's the damn point. You didn't do shit. But she's pushed everybody away, hardened herself, so all she has is this guy. And to his credit, he puts up a great verbal fight. Like, just, if this was anybody else, he probably would have still lived. But this is Regina, and she's a cold-hearted bitch. So she rips out his heart and crushes it, kills him. And we later learn, and then she enacts the curse, and we see his grave, and it's Henry. First off, we need to talk about what this implies. This death is probably in the Book of Fairy Tales because it's very important to the curse, which is definitely in the book. Henry knows about his grandfather's death. Henry was named after his grandfather, who Regina murdered because at the end of the day, he was the ends to the means. Henry knows he is adopted and shares no blood with Regina. He knows what Regina is capable of. He knows that Regina loved her father. I wonder if part of Henry is wondering, when the hell is it going to be me? She killed the first Henry, who was her father, her blood, and who loved her, and who she loved. Who's to say she won't kill me? I don't have any blood with her. I mean, yes, I'm her son. But at this point, like, who's to say I won't become an ends to the means? Now, I don't think Regina, even at her lowest, would probably kill Henry, but, like, I mean, he's read the stories of the shit she's done. Specifically Henry. I'm not putting it past her killing children, but I think she has a very possessive love over Henry. We later learn in this episode. She definitely loves Henry the second, but it's very possessive. Like, that's my toy. You can't play with my toy. I'm not sharing. So, back to the present. And Regina is reading the book, and she gets to the end about, which would reveal Emma as the daughter of Snow White. But Henry is very smart. He tore him out, and now he's just playing stupid. Like, well, it's an old book. Shit gets torn out. What can you do? In the end, he ends up going to the diner to scout out Emma. And he orders Emma a hot chocolate with cinnamon on top, which they share a like of. So Henry goes to the diner and he orders Emma a hot chocolate with cinnamon. And she at first thinks it's Graham until he pokes out and says it was him. And we learn that it's a quirk that Emma has too. She likes cinnamon with her hot chocolate, which is just like, I don't think that's how it works. It's very cool that they share a quirk like that, but I don't think that's how it works. Anyway, they have a talk and he initiates Operation Cobra, which is the plan to break the curse. And he explains the curse, and he kind of gets meta with it. Like, when Emma doesn't really believe, he says, "It's okay, I know you don't believe." The hero never believes at first, because then it wouldn't be a good story, which is just like, damn. Okay. So he brings him to school, which is like kind of weird in a sense. Like, is he supposed to ride the bus and he just skipped that? So he's walking home or walking to school, or does he normally walk to school on his own? And Regina is just living off kind of a medieval thing, like, Henry's 12 or something, he'll be fine. Or, I'm the evil fucking queen, nobody's gonna touch my son or I'm gonna kill them, and they gotta know this subconsciously. Either way, I don't know. Emma meets Mary Margaret Blanchard, and they talk about what Henry thinks is the curse. And Emma asks Mary Margaret who she is in the book. And she says Snow White. And Emma has a kind of a oh shit moment because Snow White's supposed to be her mama. And I don't know the kind of face she was looking at. Like, she kind of looked like for a second her heart fully skipped a beat. Like, damn, mama. And then she kind of looked like she was searching Mary Margaret. And I don't know, before she dismissed it, like, nah. So she ended up having a conversation with Regina, and Regina, oh my god, is kind of subtle with it. She brought up Archie, the therapist, kind of giving Emma the idea to go to Archie, and Archie proceeds to break several laws, I'm sure, by handing Emma Henry's file. And of course, Archie, the bitch he is, was working with Regina, of course. And so Graham arrests Emma. And Emma just starts immediately talking to Graham about how it's definitely Regina. Yeah. So, and then she's bailed out by Mary Margaret. And then she proceeds to cut down a tree of Regina's apple tree, which is just like, come on, Emma. Really? There's playing the game, and then there's just slapping a bear. There's just kicking the hornet's nest. Anyways. Regina has her own catch because she calls Emma... No, she calls Granny and reminds her that the city ordinances no felons can stay in a hotel for some reason. I don't know. What the hell? I don't know. Anyway, she has to leave. And she gets a recall, and then added on, Regina has her car booted. I don't think she was illegally parked. I don't think Emma would just do that, of all things. I don't know. So, we also meet Sydney, by the way. Sydney is the magic mirror. I can't remember if we met him in the last episode. Anyway, we meet him, and he wrote a hit piece on Emma, mentioning how she got into a bit of trouble. She was arrested, but she's been clean since then. And she had, and then we get a call from Regina. Hey, let's have a talk. Let's work things out. So she comes, and, Emma basically, spills it to Regina that she really doesn't believe in this curse. She kind of thinks it's crazy. Now, here's the catch. Regina is Henry's mom, so she knows that every Thursday at 5 o'clock, he comes to her office so they can have dinner before she brings him to therapy. Guess what it was? It was 5 o'clock on a Thursday, motherfucker. Henry was there, and he heard this. So he basically, this is kind of his last lifeline, I suppose. He's realized he's aging, nobody else isn't. He's living with the evil queen, and he's read some of what he's done in the book. This was a call kind of like his last chance at safety, I suppose. Because from the book, there's no interaction between Regina and a child other than her stepchild, Snow White. And, that's not something Henry would take, is not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm totally going to be safe because of that. No. And as I mentioned earlier, Henry could be operating under a sense of, am I next? I don't know. I don't know how Henry would operate. That's how I would operate. Like, If I'm Henry and I'm like, oh shit, ticking time bomb, that is. Anyway, Emma has a talk with Mary Margaret. And we learn that Snow White, Mary Margaret, Snow White, whatever. She has the same quirk as Henry and Snow White. They like cinnamon in their hot chocolate. Again, I don't think that's how it works, but that is very cool. That ties them all together. I like that. I do like it. So they have a talk, and Henry storms in Archie's office and has a talk with Henry, basically bullshitting. Like, no. The world is so crazy. Who's to say it isn't true? I wasn't telling Regina that I didn't believe. Not really. I was telling her what she needs because now she isn't gonna know. Which gets Henry all happy, and shit. And it's just like, I think this was the first real time that Emma acted like a mother. And I think she kind of realized that when Henry hugged her. Because she, whether she knows it or not, is not staying at a sense of trying to make sure a kid is safe, but making sure her kid is safe. The kid she gave up to what she was hoping was safety and is this. Whatever this is. I don't know if Emma would truly stay if it was a random kid. She might. She really might, because she might see herself in the kid. But I think it's more so because it's the kid that she gave birth to. Then we have a final scene of Regina and Rumpelstiltskin basically playing a game of, I know you know what I know, but you don't know I know. Regina was trying to get Rumpelstiltskin to bait Rumpelstiltskin into saying that he remembers, kind of. But Rumpelstiltskin was like, nah, he's waiting. He's going to reveal it at the perfect time. And that perfect time is not now. And then he drops the bomb that, your plan to get Miss Swan across the state lines? Didn't work. They looked thick as thieves when I saw them in town square. And that's how it ends. There's something also I need to bring up of the world building. Graham is sheriff. Cities don't have sheriffs, I don't believe. Counties have sheriffs. So is Storybrooke not just a city or a town, but also a small county? And what does that imply? Where's the police chief? And even if Graham is the sheriff, or the police chief, or whatever, where's the other deputies or the police officers? Where's the other people that work in the police station, like forensics? I don't know if a small town would have forensics. I don't know what a small town would have. But I know it would have more than just Graham. If Graham is doing everything by himself, he should have some gray hair. He should have far more gray hair. I don't know. Graham also got in an argument with Regina because he was advocating for Emma, which Regina didn't like because, as I said, she's very possessive over her things, and Graham is definitely her thing. And she doesn't like the crush or whatever that he has on Emma. Overall, this episode is very entertaining in the sense it gave us more Regina backstory, so to say. And it also furthered the relationship of Emma and Mary Margaret, because they're now roommates, Emma and Henry. furthered the friendship of Graham and Emma. It furthered relationships. This episode was more so furthering and strengthening relationships than any plot relevance. But, you know, that's that. It's only the second episode. I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video.